everyone. It is Ben again. We are here at E3, and this time we are talking about one of my most anticipated games for 2019, Doom Eternal. And to talk about it with me, I have...
Marty Stratton. I'm the executive producer.
And I'm Hugo Martin, the game's creative director.
So the first question that I want to open up with is, Doom has weapons that are very familiar in shooters. It has shotguns, it has all that stuff, but in Doom especially, they are just iconic. I mean, when you think of the Doom shotgun, you can hear that classic sound. Will there be new weapons in Doom Eternal that live up to that legacy?
Weapons are such a core part of Doom. They're iconic, like you've said, but they're the tools. They're the tools of combat. So every single, I mean, we spend so much time creating those guns and making sure that the way you use them, their feedback, everything that you use them for is meaningful. And with the weak points on the guns, you know, when you play, you see like the Arachnotron has a gun on top of his head. You can use the scope, the HAR scope, and zoom in on that and take that thing off, and it gives a really rewarding chink sound and really changes the way he fights on the battlefield. So yeah, we're always about making the guns really, really meaningful and just the best tools for combat.
There's a gun called the Ballista, which is a high-powered weapon. I think if you played it, you know what I'm talking about. It's the ancient Sentinel-looking weapon. And great example is the mod on that. They have one of them is called the Destroyer Blade. So you charge it up, and it will cut dudes right in half. We spend a lot of time getting the rig so that they can do like Fruit Ninja dudes in half. And you could do that to like an entire room full of guys. So that's a perfect example of the type of handcrafted weaponry that we'll be handing the player, and it feels really, really good.
I think about this a lot with Mortal Kombat, how fun it must be to like get into those rooms and be like, okay, we need a new fatality. I can imagine it's kind of a similar sensation with Doom Eternal being like, okay, let's design a new weapon. How ridiculous are we going to get? How is it going to blow up enemies? What is that process like when you come up with an idea? How do you iterate on it? Where are you taking ideas from for new weapons?
It's gameplay first. I mean, like, you know, we really just focus on creating the most tightly tuned experience we could possibly give the player. And it's a lot of, it would be easy to just sit around and say, well, how can we kill guys in the coolest way possible? I mean, that's definitely a part of it. But it's more about like the Doom dance and what do we think we could add to the Doom dance or steer into from the last game that would enhance the experience. And it's all about player engagement. It's like, so you have to kind of responsibly design weapons, otherwise they become kind of meaningless. So a good example is like the rocket launcher this time around. It's actually more powerful than it was last time, but there's it moves slower through the air, and so certain enemies have been tuned that they can actually evade the slow-moving rocket, which would steer you then into the Ballista, which is a fast-moving Gauss-type rifle. The self-damage on the rocket launcher is actually much stronger this game. So immediately, and then there's an AI that can spawn walls and throw them right in front of you, and if you shoot the rocket into the wall right in front of your face, you'll die. So that's kind of how we think about it, is like what do we think can get the player thinking, you know, and if they use it correctly, they'll feel really powerful. If they use it correctly, like high risk reward, because it's all about player engagement for us. And if you're not thinking, you're not engaged, and you're bored.
And then you put on top of that kind of the team's obsessiveness with detail, and it's a very great combination because, like Hugo said, it all starts with gameplay, and that's where the iteration happens, and then it really moves into I mean, Hugo mentioned a handcrafted weapon. Like everything we really think about from that sense and sensibility is just. We have a guy on the team who once said, we don't do more, we do better. And that's really how we approach all that stuff. And whether it's just the visual flourish, but really the meaningfulness of everything, the visual feedback, it does have meaning in the high-speed gameplay of Doom.
Something that Doom 2016 introduced, talking about weapons and specific uses, is you had weapon modifications, and it kind of expanded the utility of weapons in that game. That's returning in Doom Eternal. Can we expect even more modifications, or will it be pretty similar to the way that it was in 2016?
It's a pretty good mix. There's some returning that players loved, and I feel like, just like you kind of can't live without a shotgun in Doom anymore. There's some mods that the players just really loved. So there's some returning, and then there's new ones like he mentioned the Arbalist and the Blade. The obviously the Super Shotgun has a meat hook on it that now attaches to demons. And again, that's a good example of kind of tightly tuning weapon, like a new mod like that. We could have made it a grapple hook that lets you just grapple anywhere, but it was all about how do we pull the player closer into the demons so that meat hook can only attach to demons, pulls you close, works perfectly with the Super Shotgun, but also works perfectly with the fast weapon switching, because you can actually use it to launch yourself up into the air. You can grapple off, say, a pain elemental, get yourself up into the air, and then switch to like another gun that maybe you want to use from a different angle. And that kind of combination, that fluidity is really it makes it so acrobatic and so fun.
A big thing that you revealed during the Bethesda press conference was battle mode, and you have this 2v1 multiplayer mode where it's strategy versus skill, and the two players playing the demons are going to have to think a little bit more tactically, and then you're going against what you said, a fully loaded Doomslayer. My question, I guess, on the demon side is, are players, when they pick this mode, are you going to just be able to like have this set amount of demons that you can pick and they're all unlocked right from the start? Is it something where you're going to have to earn different demons over time and they scale in power quite a bit? What, I guess, kind of is the breadth there for that side of the equation?
Well, they won't scale. I mean, the key there is that we wanted the abilities to remain consistent, so that way the meta strategies emerge faster. I need to know what killed me. I need to understand after a while exactly how much damage it does, what it sounds like when it comes at me. And if every time, because somebody's like continuously upgrading their character, it's like, oh my god, I just got hit with an ice ray, where the hell did that come from? That could become frustrating, at least for our game. So we wanted like the game to be really consistent from a player ability perspective, so it's something that you could master faster. And then within that, there's all that nuance that can happen with games like that. As far as unlocking demons, we'll talk more about that at QuakeCon, but we will have a roster of demons that you'll be able to play as. It's really, really cool. And we can't say enough about it. I mean, it's so engaging, and I think every bit as engaging and as fun as the single-player campaign. It's really, really well balanced. It's a very tight experience. One of the things we really focused on was we wanted better pacing than 2016's MP had. I mean, we wanted it to be better than 2016 MP, like all around, and we really focused on an experience that had varied pacing, really, really good drama. Like the drama in this mode is very, very strong. It's accessible but surprisingly competitive. And that it wasn't going to be Twitch skills versus Twitch skills, because in like Doom 2016's MP, if you beat me in that, you just had better Twitch skills than I do, and there's nothing really I could do about that. Sure. But in this mode, I can use strategy and teamwork to overcome somebody else's maybe better Twitch skills, which for us is really fantastic. And in particular, we noticed that it's as fun to watch as it is to play. And when you die, you don't get frustrated, because you know what you did wrong and you want to dive right back in and feel like, no, I could do better. I think you feel that with the single-player campaign, and you definitely feel it with PvP.
And the genesis really is that it's born from the things you love in the Doom combat dance. I mean, it was really one of the toughest lessons coming out of Doom 2016 was the multiplayer. Just it was a bit of a bit of this and a bit of that, and none of what people loved from the Doom campaign. Sure. There was no Slayer in the multiplayer. There were the demons, but we treated them more like power-ups. So it was fun, but it really wasn't an extension of what people loved. So this really has been developed internally, side by side, with the campaign, and is that the things you learn in the campaign you get to apply pretty much directly. And even when you're playing as a demon, you know how a Mancubus behaves, you know how a Revenant behaves, and then you get to assume those capabilities as playing as the demon. And it's really exciting for us too, because it's kind of the first time you're in a meaningful way taking on a new role, a new kind of play style, and it's so varied across the demons. I think players are just gonna find a whole new love for the Doom combat dance, because they're going to be seeing it from a different side.
It's really simple, but it's got a ton of metas. I mean, I feel like the last game multiplayer that we made had no metas. It was just, let's run at each other and kill each other, die, and then we'll do it again. You know, this one, you'll just keep discovering these metas, and it just keeps evolving. It's fun for us to watch new players when we play test it. Oh yeah, I know what to do. I'll just, you know, I'm a demon. I'll just run at him. Oh man, that didn't work out. You know, so hey, maybe we should work together. What if we do this? And I don't want to say too much, but it's there's going to be a lot of layers there for fans to sink their teeth into. We are super, super proud of it. I can't stop playing it. I think it's fucking awesome. Total confidence in this mode. I think people are going to love it.
Cool. You were talking about the need for consistency, and how when you're playing one of the demons, it's like, oh, this makes sense. I'm familiar with this character. Is it a one-to-one translation? I mean, can we expect like all of the abilities that you would see in the campaign, the way that they move, or are there some limitations just for the sake of balance in this mode?
We certainly put the mode and the balance first. It starts with the core of the demon behaviors, but there's actually kind of an expansion of things in the PvP. So the demons have a bit more capability than they do in the campaign. And they can, you know, as a playable demon, you can spawn AI demons to help you. They can spawn hazards. So it's definitely, there's a depth to playing as the demons that is greater than what you see in the campaign, but kind of the fundamentals of them are very, very similar.
Yeah, archetypally they remain the same. Yeah. So, you know, yeah, I would say that it's pretty consistent in that regard.
Since you're working with another player on the demon side, are there kind of combinations of demons that you want to push the players toward, and is that kind of, I guess, like signposted when you, like, let's say you're picking it up for the first time? Is there any clue of like, hey buddy, you should pick this demon? Okay.
Like, not, yeah, it certainly that they can make combinations that are pretty effective, but you can also both be the same demon and be just as effective. Sure. I mean, but we don't.
That's the fun of it.
Yeah, it is the fun of it. It's not that hardcore where it prevents you from picking a demon or something. Like, if we both want to be Revenants, we could both be Revenants. Cool. But yeah, I would say it's kind of open to the players.
On the Doomslayer side, when you say fully loaded, does that mean every single time the I guess arsenal of the Doomslayer is going to be identical to keep that consistency? And does that mean that in battle mode, the Doomslayer will have access to every single weapon that we would see in the campaign?
Yes, every single weapon and mod.
Cool.
He is jacked, but that's the fun of it. I mean, like the skill and the tools of the Slayer are unlimited, and that skill is put to the test by those human player demons. And it's also, I mean, it's one of the fun parts about it, and even like we play the game constantly. Like, yeah. I wouldn't call us like professional Doomslayer capable gamers, but I mean, like, there's when anybody on the team who plays the game a lot jumps in and plays as the Slayer, you know, it takes quite a bit of pushing to really get the blood pressure going. Yeah. Battle mode instantly puts you there because you're playing against two other humans who, yes, they're demons, but that human thought and that human strategy against even advanced skills with all of the weapons and all of the mods, man, you are on your toes and just, I mean, like, ready to blow your lid because it is so intense.
I just want to say that it's nice kind of picking up on this and throughout this interview, paying attention to your guys' vocabulary, because you're saying things like blow the lid off, jacked, fucking awesome. And I think that's exactly the kind of vocabulary that you would want to describe a new Doom game. So that's pretty cool. But we are out of time, unfortunately. I could keep going forever talking about Doom Eternal. But thank you both so much.